Hello and welcome to my VR to Kasia at Tarot Map. It's hashtag MyReligiousDecks. Mine will specifically be Christian in nature. I am an Italian folk magic practitioner, and folk magic, the Catholicism, the elements of Catholicism in Italian folk magic is inextricable. Without the elements of Catholicism, you remove the magic in the folk magic. So, and in Italian witchcraft, you can feel free to argue as much as you want in the comments below. I'm sorry, Italian witchcraft also has elements of Catholicism. Stregoneria, for instance. It's inextricable. You take away the Catholicism, you take away the magic. Just like any folk magic practice around the world you have to have the magic aspect of it, or else it doesn't work, people. But anyway, I'm unapologetic about it. I don't care. Don't tell me that what I'm talking about is not witchcraft or not Italian witchcraft. Show me your results compared to mine. Is all I have to say. All right. And this is not new. I've been unapologetic about this for 20 years online. It's more than 20 years I'm online telling people, no, Italian witchcraft, Italian folk magic has the elements of Catholicism are inextricable. Okay, that's enough. My decks. So, I watched some other videos before making mine. Of course I watched Kasia's, and Kasia had some decks that, oh my god, I had a little bit of deck envy. I watched some other ones as well. And so I probably have a couple that I haven't seen, and I'm gonna bring up I'm gonna start with the ones that I guess maybe everyone has. Maybe everyone has these decks, or have these decks, and they're not wanting to talk about them. I'm gonna talk about them because I've already mentioned them on my channel. So the first one is this one. This, to me, is this Guardian Angel deck. I have the one by Doreen Virtue and Radley Valentine. I believe that now, there was one for a little while circulating that was just Radley Valentine, and then I think I haven't even seen that one anymore. So I don't know if something's up with that one. I don't know if what I'm trying to say is I don't know if this one is still available. But this, the artwork in this, the color palette, it reminds me of my St. Joseph's Missal from my First Holy Communion, which I don't have here on my desk. Let me check, maybe I do. But I've shown it in the past, comparing it to my St. Joseph's Missal that was given to me by someone who I love dearly, who's no longer living. And this deck connects me to her, and I consider this to be, even though it's for everybody, like I really feel like you don't have to be Catholic, this one does tie me back to my childhood. So this is, I guess this one's an honorable mention, because it's not that the images are not religious at all. So the images are not religious. The messages are not religious. They're non-denominational. It's very, it's more like on a new age, more on the new age spectrum. But I count this one because of its of what it reminds me of. So I'm gonna get this one out of the way, because this one's just barely in this list. The next two, they are also by Doreen Virtue. My first one being the most recent one I got, which is Loving Words from Jesus. The artwork is very modern. Although these images remind me of something that, my nonna would love. Here's my favorite card in the deck. I'm sure my nonna would love this one. She would have loved to have this print in her kitchen of Jesus eating white pizza. I practice Italian folk magic. The majority of people who seek me out for a spiritual consultation or a reading, also for spiritual consultations, it's people wanting to come back to a practice that ties them to home, which for many was Catholicism minus the garbage, right? So of course I'm going to have tools that speak to that. So yeah, so Loving Words from Jesus. It's a beautiful deck. The messages are samey. You know, there's not a lot of different messages in here. They're all pretty much the same, but it's beautiful. And like I said, Jesus eating white pizza. My God. All right. The next one is this one. It's Mary, Queen of Angels Oracle cards, also by Doreen Virtue. Oh my God, people. I literally got these for the backs. So there's a lot of traditional depictions of Mary in here, which I love. And there's a little bit of New Agey. I think, well, there's this classic depiction of a unicorn. I know it's a fragment from a larger painting. That's kind of strange, but oh, here it is. It's coming. I love these traditional images. This one in the Mary, Queen of Angels Oracle is kind of bizarre. It reminds me of the music card in all the Hay House decks. Yeah, so this is, and that's it for the Doreen Virtue. I have in my, I have stored away the ones I received as gifts over the years from friends that are also like Hay House Doreen Virtue kind of decks that are angels but New Agey kind of thing, but I didn't feel that it fit here. I'm going strictly for, you know, Christian and that kind of thing. Staying with the Oracle decks. Are we staying with the Oracle decks? Are we staying with angels? Let's staying with angels. Well, let's start with angels. If you've been watching me eat for 5 minutes, you've seen these before, but I thought it would be pretty neat if I showed them again. And these are out of print. Angel Blessings, Cards of Sacred Guidance and Inspiration by Kimberly Maroney. These are beautiful. I mentioned in a when I showed these in a previous video, the box feels like some kind of wood, like thin, like, you know, thin wood, light wood. This is the guidebook with nice glossy pages. This deck is from the early 90s, early mid 90s. Wait, let me check the date. It was expensive then for any kind of deck, but I have to say, if you've been doing this as long as I have, the prices haven't changed much. A tarot deck used to cost $25, $30 in 1995, or even before then, in the late 80s. An Oracle deck of this production value was $50 back then, and right now that's what they would cost. It would cost $50. I can't find the date on this thing, but I know I got it in the mid-90s. And again, like I said, sadly, no. Oh, here's the date. Here's a 1995. So yeah. This, again, was unusual for the time, but not, well, unusual for the time. I didn't know. We didn't have YouTube We didn't have people to tell us what was available out there. Everything was sealed in a box in a metaphysical shop, and you just took your chances when you bought something. If you were lucky, you knew someone who already had a deck and you were able to flip through it before you went to the store and bought your own. But look at this cardstock, people. These are the backs. This is matte cardstock of the highest quality. Of the highest quality. In a deck that is 25 years old. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I consider this religious because they are, you know, there's religious depictions of angels. And because the guidebook. Although I have used these cards with people who weren't religious, but bear in mind, in my culture, if we're, you know, if we're practicing some kind of metaphysics, if we have some kind of metaphysical practice, already we're playing fast and loose with Catholicism, those of us who are still Catholic. I am not. But the next one is this one, The Angel Oracle by Ambika Wouters. I think, I want to say Kasia featured a current deck by Ambika Wouters. This is The Angel Oracle. I got this one, I think, in 1995, 96. It's my original deck. The card stock was not as good as the other one. This one cost, I think, when I bought it, it said $22.95 here. I guess I think I paid it $30 Canadian. These are the backs. They're terribly, they look terrible. They're like, they look worn. This is what I best describe as psychedelic Byzantine. So you got a little bit of that, like, you know, 70s meets the Byzantine style art. And I freaking love these. I think I used them once in the last year. Before that, I think I went years and years and years without using them. Doesn't matter. These always have a prominent place on my shelf. These guys, they got me through some really, really hard times. Same thing with the Angel Blessings cards. These decks that I've had 20-something years, these are my friends. These were there when things got rough. So they stay, of course. And obviously all the decks I'm sharing today, they're staying. The next one. The next are all, oh, I have one more that's not tarot, and then we'll move on to tarot. Voices of Saints, Lo Scarabeo. Sadly, oh look at this, I love this side. Sadly, out of print. Out of print, unavailable. It's hard to tell what's going on. I don't know if it's because of the pandemic, they just stopped producing. Maybe they closed the factory where they produce the cards, and so they ran out of their supply, or maybe they're out of print, but they're no longer on the Lo Scarabeo website, so I'm guessing they're out of print. A deck I regret not getting. I tried to get it through a French-Canadian bookseller, online bookseller, was oh my goodness, I can't remember the name of it because it's not L'Oracle des Saints, which is it's a French deck, like, you know, not L'Oracle des Saints, because I didn't like the artwork on L'Oracle des Saints. It was, let me quickly check because I don't want to get it wrong, because sometimes I just fudge it and I give you like the wrong name of stuff and it's like, no. Here's Coffret des Saints Protecteurs. I'm trying to get my hands on Coffret des Saints Protecteurs. If you happen to be out there and you have it and you don't want it, hit me up. My email is on the About tab of my YouTube channel. Yeah. So it's Le Coffret des Saints Protecteurs. I just got an email today from Renaud Bré that unfortunately they were unable to source it. So that's one that I had my heart on getting, like, you know, my heart set on getting, and I, whatever, didn't work out. No matter. L'Oracle des Saints is I don't like the art. It's cartoony. It's a little weird. I prefer holy cards. Like I prefer that kind of, you know, classic holy cards kind of art. A tarot deck that I was going to get and then I changed my mind was a while back was Tarot of the Tarot Holy Cards or Holy Cards Tarot. I can't remember why I didn't end up getting it. I had Mysteries of Mary early on, and I ended up giving it as a gift to someone who really needed it. So I don't know, now with the pandemic, I understand that it's pretty hard to get, but I'll eventually want to replace it. So back to Voices of Saints. This is a 78 card deck, but it is not an oracle. I'm going to show you even though it's out of print, because I showed you the other ones that are out of print, so what the heck, right? The cards are numbered, but it's not a tarot card, it's an oracle. And the reason why I wanted Le Coffret des Saints Protecteurs, the French, that French saint card deck, was because I had watched a flip through comparing it to the ones that I have, to Voices of Saints, and I think there was only 10 out of those 52 cards that I already had. So I'm thinking, oh my god, you know what I mean? But sadness. I guess someone who can't get, get their hot little hands of Voices of Saints are going to feel the same way I feel about Le Coffret. I'm going to say it again, people. I'm putting it out into the universe. Le Coffret des Saints Protecteurs. If you're out there, you have one, and you don't love it, email me. Or if you have any saint card deck that you don't care about, send me a message. Stuff like Hay House, like like modern digitally produced sexy saints. No, I don't want that. That's kind of weird, man. It's like people I read for might find that a little strange. But anyway, moving right along. The next is a tarot deck that I consider to be religious. Hashtag my religious decks. Let's get this one out of the way. Is this one. There's a reason why this one is so popular, because there's images in here that, well, let's start with this one. Judgment. Let me just show you some cards while I'm going through them. Yeah, even this one, right? If you don't stick to Christian, if you broaden it to Judeo-Christian, there's this. This one, even my Zia looked at it and said, "Oh, look, Adam and Eve." Why? Because, well, you have the serpent on the tree, you have fruit on the tree here. Who's this guy? Yeah, the fourth horseman of the apocalypse, death. And then you have a pope. So, yeah, this one, of course, this imagery is, let's look, I gotta find the Ace of Cups, because that one, every time I see it, okay, the Hangman, whether you like it or not, for me, the hangman, sacrifice, crucifixion. Check it out. The Holy Eucharist. Communion. So, yeah. So for me, this is definitely, and this is why this deck is so popular. This is why reading for people is, this is the most recognizable deck overall, in terms of mainstream, and it's relatable for a lot of different people. You know, not everybody who goes for tarot readings are witchy types and stuff like that. Tarot readings are for everybody. And this deck is in that category. All right. And now I have I have 3 decks left. So I'll go with my, so the Influence of Angels Tarot. I consider this one to be, I think it was Julianne through the Peacock's Eyes who showed her Cat Black, her Golden Tarot by Cat Black, which these 2 decks are, this one and that one are often compared. I find there's a lot of imagery in here. The chariot, you know. Anyway, so there's a lot of you know, Christian imagery in here. And like if we go back to something like Rider-Waite's, in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, well, here it's Judeo-Christian, right? Because you also have, like, you know, you have your Christian mysticism and Hermeticism, and your Judeo, you got your Kabbalah and all that kind of stuff, right? So I know it's like it's a dog's breakfast, this video. So yeah. Oh, here he is, the Hierophant. So you generally see, you know, the more traditional tarot decks will have a Hierophant, a Pope. I could have brought one of my Marseille decks. I only have 2. Well, I have 3. One is a majors only, that's only cats. Hodorowski is awesome. But anyway, but I didn't think of bringing my Marseille deck. But yeah, there's Christian imagery in the Marseille deck, Le Pape, right? The next one is none other than Robert M. Place's A Gnostic Book of Saints. A Gnostic Book of Saints, yeah. And the tarot deck that goes with it. I received this as a gift from a lovely, lovely person, and I'm actually enjoying working with it. So here, the Ace of Coins. So this one, yeah, this is definitely, like, this is overtly Catholic. I'm enjoying working with this deck. Right now I'm working with it in terms of, well, I'm enjoying reading the book. It's very interesting reading with these cards, because I typically when I'm reading tarot cards, I can't help it. They're going to predict outcomes, right? So it's kind of weird with these, and yeah, so I'm still feeling my way around with them, but they're brand new to me still, and I'm really really grateful to have them. And I love the energy that they came with. The person who gave them to me, wonderful, wonderful energy. Lovely, lovely person. And lastly, this is one that I purchased. I purchased this one on one of the Facebook trade groups, like trade and sell groups for Tarot and Oracle. I mentioned it in a past video when I first got it. This is the Byzantine Tarot by John Matthews, art by Scylla Conway. This one is out of print, but if a quick search had me discover it's being reprinted in the fall. This one was terrible, and that's why I bought it. I bought it to rescue it, to save it. Here's the book. There was nothing wrong with the book. The binding is beautiful on the book. But the cards were, all the corners were chewed up. Really badly rounded corners. So what I did was I re-rounded the corners. Some cards are not the same. Some cards are not the same height. Some cards stick up. I decided to leave that alone because it's just crazy making to try to you know, identify the cards that are, you know, that are a bit taller and then shaving off a piece. It's like, oh no. But I did end up edging mine to match the backs and add a little sparkle to them. I don't know if you could see it. There it is. Add a little glitter. And Byzantine art, or Byzantine style art, is definitely, you know, Greek Orthodox, Russian Orthodox, Eastern Orthodox, Christianity. Their icons are, they're, you know, they're well known. And this art style is just absolutely stunning. I love it. I love it. I love it. So it's also pretty cool that it's, you know, it's being reprinted. I can't wait to see videos when, you know, the people who end up getting it, to see how it differs from this one. I imagine, but you don't know, right? I imagine that the cardstock is going to be nicer than this, because this is pretty crappy cardstock. Pretty crappy cardstock. Oh, look at this, little baby Jesus. Okay, I'll stop here. All right, so these were my, what I consider to be religious tarot and oracle decks. Religious in the sense that it's symbolism that makes tarot and oracle approachable for people who come from a religious background, that are open-minded enough, of course, to want their cards read. For me, these are just, you know, they're solid, they're pillars in my collection because of the kind of because of my spiritual practice and my magical practice. What I did want to, because my bag likes to be in my videos, this is my saint kit. Aside from Voices of Saints and all that, I do have quite a collection of holy cards. These are the modern plastic ones, and I definitely collect the ones of the saints I work the most with. This is Saint Padre Pio. Here he's still Padre Pio. That's awesome. And Michael, and my usual roster of friends that I work with. This is St. Clair, that kind person sent me. It was from Entropy Apothecary, sent me that, Susan. And much appreciated, of course. And then, of course, all my holy cards from, I collected over a lifetime. Some of them are very, very old. This one feels like cloth. It's so old. That's St. Anthony. This is my favorite depiction of Mother Mary. La Madonna dei Poveri, also known as Madonna of the Streets in English. But yeah. So, like I said, my saint kit likes to be shown off on video, so I thought I'd give it its moment. I have my rosaries in here. My glow-in-the-dark rosary. Okay, that's enough, huh? Alright. Thank you for tuning in to my religious decks video. I will include the link to Kasia's video in my description box. Tell me if there are, like, you know, there's other religions too, right? It's like there's Buddhist decks. So there's decks that are, you know, in line with Buddhist teachings. I don't think I have any that are other religions other than the pagan decks, right? Like the Wiccan decks. I have, like, you know, I think something like the Druid Craft is considered a religious deck. I feel that the Wildwood is considered a religious deck. I was just wanting today to feature the ones that are the ones people don't talk about, right? The ones that because there's a lot of hurt and pain out there. People who experience a lot of who experienced injury from being raised Catholic. So I thought I'd mention these. All right, that's it for me. Thank you for tuning in. I wish you all a beautiful day.